Hello P6. For today's numeracy activities, we're going to begin by doing some dividing. And we are going to download this Super Grids challenge. So go and download it. And when you download it, you'll see that on your page you have 6 different grids. And in each grid across the top, there are 4 numbers. And those 4 numbers need to be divided by the numbers that go down the side. Now, some of the numbers will divide without needing any remainders, but some of them will have to have a remainder. So what you need to do is fill in these empty boxes the answer you get when you divide the number at the top by the numbers at the side. So the first number I have at the top is 20, and the first question I'm going to do is 20 divided by 5. So how many times does 5 go into 20? Yep, it goes in 4 times, so I'm going to put 4 there. I'm going to keep going on down. So 20 divided by 5 is 4. What's 20 divided by 1? Yeah, when we divide any number by 1, the answer stays the same. It still is 20. What's 20 divided by 2? How many 2's go into 20? Yeah, 10. Now, 20 divided by 3. Think about your multiplication facts. Turn it into multiplication sum. 3 times what? 3 times what? There isn't an answer 20, is there? So what's the closest I can get? Well, 3 times 6 is 18. So 20 divided by 3, I can get 6 full groups, but I'm going to have a remainder. So I'm going to put my remainder in underneath. 20 divided by 3 is 6, remainder 2. Then I'm going to take my number 13 and I'm going to divide it by 5, by 1, by 2 and by 3. So 13 divided by 5, well, if I count in 5s, 5, 10, can't go as far as 15. So 2 groups of 5 go into 13, remainder 3. 13 divided by 1 is 13. 13 divided by 2. Think about 13 divided by 2. Well, the closest I can get is 12 divided by 2 is 6, but I've got 13, so remainder 1. 13 divided by 3. So think about your 3's. 3, 6, 9, 12. Can't go as far as 15, so 12 divided by 3 is 4. I'm going to have remainder 1. P6. If you need some extra help, there is your divisions fact sheet there for you to download. Use it if you need to. It's really important in P6 that we can divide quite quickly. So if you need to, do some extra revision, please. Now, today's main lesson is all about problem solving. And before you do anything else, I want you to go and get 2 things for me. First thing I want you to do is go and get yourself a scrap of paper, just to do a little bit of writing on. And the second thing I want you to go and get, can you go and get yourself some coins if you happen to have any in the house? You don't need any £1 or £2 coins, but if you've got any 50p's, 20s, 10s, 5s, 2s or 1s, even just a couple of each, if you can go and grab those now before we start our lesson. So pause the video, go and grab some of those and then come back. Okay, so have you managed to grab some coins for me? Right, well today we are thinking about problem solving, and our problem solving today is all about how many different ways we can do something. And we're going to be using our coins to help us. Now for our first challenge, we're going to see if we can work out how many different ways we can make 30p using silver coins. Now, silver coins, which ones are the silver coins? Well, of course, that's the 50, the 20, the 10 and the 5. Now, how could I make 30p just using silver coins? Well, I'm going to get the bronze coins out of the way. Can you suggest for me any ways in which I can make 30p using silver coins? Well, probably the easiest way would be to take a 20 and a 10. That probably would be the most straightforward way to make 30p. So an easy way to make 30p would be a 20p and a 10p. Can you think of another way that I could make 30p using just silver coins? Well, I can't use the 50p's, can I? They're no use to me. They're too big. So another way I could make 30p. Oh, I know one. What if I took 10p, 10p, 10p? That would also be 30p, wouldn't it? 3 10p's is the same as 30p. Now P6, what I would like you to do for this first challenge, get that scrap of paper and go and jot down on it as many different ways, as many different answers for this challenge as you can. How many different ways can you make 30p, but it must be using silver coins? So go and jot them down on the page. Now, it's okay to do 20p and 10p, but then don't also do 10p and 20p, because that's exactly the same thing, okay? So it needs to be something completely different. So it's not okay just to swap the coins around. You need to find a different way of making it. So how many different ways can you come up with? Pause the video now, go and do some jotting down on a scrap of paper, and then come back in a moment when you've got your answers. Pause the video now. Okay, how did you get on this time? How many different ways are there to make 30p using only silver coins? Well, I started off with a 20p and a 10p. Then I went to 3 10p's. When I was working it out, the next one I thought of was lots of 5p's. So I did 5p and 5p and 5p and another 5p and another 5p and another 5p. So I ended up using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 5p's, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30p. I then thought, is there another way I could do it using a 20p? So the next one that I came up with was a 20p, and I put 2 5p's with it. Did you get that one as well? What else did you manage to come up with? The next one I thought of was 10p and 10p and then 2 5p's. So 2 10p's and 2 5p's. That was another way that I got. And then the last one that I got was, what if I only used 1 10p, but the rest was 5p's? So if I used a 10p, but I then used 4 5p's, so I would have 10, 15, 20, 25, 30p. Altogether, I came up with 6 different ways to make 30p using silver coins. How many ways did you get, P6? Did you manage to get 6 ways as well? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if there's another way that I could write those answers down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it into what's called an organised list. Now, in an organised list, what we're simply doing is taking our answers, but we're going to try to make them, well, a little bit more organised. Write them down in a way that perhaps makes a little bit more sense. So I'm going to go back to the first one. The easiest way to make 30p probably was that 20p and the 10p. Now, were there any other ways to make 30p using a 20p? Yep, there was one more, wasn't there? I could keep the 20p, but instead of using a 10p, I could swap that 10p for 2 5p's. So I've used up that one. I've used up that one. Were there any other ways that I could make 30p and start off with a 20p? No, there weren't. So let's go for a 10p at the start. Probably the easiest way with 10p at the start is just to do 3 10p's. So 3 10p's. What if I took that last 10p and I swapped it for 2 5p's? So what if I went 10p and 10p, but then swapped that last 10p for the 2 5p's? So there's 10p and 10p and 5p and 5p. Was there any other way to begin and have a 10p at the start? Yes, there was. So we could start off with the 10p and then we could have the 4 5p's. And then for the last one, take that 10p, swap it for 2 more 5p's. And all together, you'll end up with your 6 5p's to make 30p. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 5p's make 30p. What we've done on this page is we have organised our information. we've tried to set it out in a more organised way. Instead of just jotting down ideas that we did on this page, we've tried to set them out in a more organised way. Start off with the biggest coin that we could and make it the most simple way. And then take that 10p, swap it for two 5p's. Swap the 20p for two 10p's. Take that 10p, swap it for two 5s. Swap another 10 for two 5s. Swap another 10 for two 5s. We're trying to do it in an organised or a systematic way. Now, that was challenge number 1. For challenge number 2 today, we are going to think about some of the teachers that we have here in Brooklands and Mr. Armstrong. Let's have a look at your challenge for number 2. Your challenge for number 2 says, when Mr. Armstrong went shopping, the shop assistant handed him 80p in change using less than 7 coins. 80p in change using less than 7 coins. Now, the things that are important here, it's 80p and it's less than 7. Now, what does less than 7 mean, P6? Yeah, it means there can't be any more than 6. It could be 1 coin, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 coins. It can't be as high as 7. It has to be less than 7 coins. So Mr. Armstrong is going to get 80p in change, but he's using less than 7 coins, so up to 6 coins. Now, the P6 teachers, we all had a go at working out the answers. Mr. Massey, when he worked it out, he thinks there are 10 ways to make 80p using less than 7 coins. I think that there are 8 ways to do it. Mr. Kutsia, he says that Mr. Massey and I, we are both wrong. So what you're challenged to do today is to find out which one of the P6 teachers is right. Is Mr. Massey right? Can we make 80p using less than 7 coins in 10 ways? Am I right? Can we do it 8 ways? Or is Mr. Kutsia right in saying that Mr. Massey and I are both wrong? Well, let's start off by thinking about it. How could we make 80p using less than 7 coins? Well, what would the easiest way to make 80p be? It would probably be take a 50p and then a 20p and a 10p. So if I was going to work it out, I would probably start there. Then what I could do is, well, what if I swapped that 10p? If I kept the 50 and the 20, but instead of having a 10p, I could swap that for two 5p's. So there's another 80p, 50, 70, 75, 80. What I would like you to do now, P6, is I want you to go and download the 80p challenge. And I would like you to see how many different ways you can come up with. Now, on your worksheet, I have given you the space to do 12 different answers. There might be 12 different answers. When I did my working out, I thought there were only 8. Mr. Massey said that there were 10. Mr. Kutsia says we're both wrong. So I wonder how many ways you can come up with, remembering you are trying to make 80p using less than 7 coins. So go and pause the video now and see how many you can find and which teacher is right. Pause the video now. Okay, so how did you get on with working out the ways to make 80p using less than 7 coins? How many more ways did you find? Which teacher was right? Well, I hate to say it, but I wasn't right. So we had our first 2 ways, a 50, 20 and a 10, a 50, a 20, a 5 and a 5. And when I did my working out again, I thought, oh dear, Mrs. Bell, you've got this one wrong. The next way I could have done it is I could have taken the 50, the 20, I could have kept one of the 5s, but then I could have done 2 2p's and a 1p. 50, 20 is 70, 75, 77, 79, 80. Did you manage to find that one? Another way I could have made it, I could have stayed with my 50p at the start, but I could have then put 3 10p's with it. Did you find that one? What about if I kept my 50, 2 of the 10p's, but swapped the last 10p for 2 5p's, 50, 60, 70, 75, 80. I could even have swapped that 10p for 2 more 5p's. So 50, 10, and then I could have done 4 5p's. 50, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80. I couldn't think of any more ways that used a 50p. So then I started thinking about ways making 80p using 20p's. And of course I could use 4 20p's to make 80p, 20, 40, 60, 80. Then I thought, oh, I could take that 20p and swap it for 2 10p's. So I could do 3 20p's, 20, 40, 60, 70, 80. I then thought, well, what if I took that 10p and swapped it for 2 5p's? So keep it the same at the start, 20, 40, 60, 70, 75, 80. And then I started to think, is there any other ways that I could do this? And I came up with one more way. The final way that I came up with was 20 and 20, and then 4 10p's, 20, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Altogether, P6, there are 10 ways to make 80p using less than 7 coins. So which of the teachers was right? It was Mr. Massey. Of course it was. Of course it was Mr. Massey. Mr. Massey was the one who managed to get the right answer. There were 10 ways to make 80p using less than 7 coins. Now P6, that's the first of our problem-solving activities. Over the next few weeks, we'll be doing some more problem-solving activities. But the one thing I want you to take away from today's lesson is this thought of trying to organise your information. Not just writing things down at random, but try doing it so we're only changing maybe one thing at a time. So taking a 10p, swapping it for 2 5p's, for example. Now, that's the end of your main problem-solving task. Now that you have finished that, go and have a look at the website. Go and have a look at today's reasoning challenge, which is all about multiplication. And if you get that done, then go and why don't you log into Education City for today? We have had amazing scores on Play Live Words. Not so many people have been playing the maths games so far this week. So why don't you see if you can challenge yourself to play live on the maths challenges, addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. Can you make it onto the school leaderboard? Could you even make it onto the national leaderboard? That would be amazing. Good luck.